FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
This episode of the Financial Survival Network is brought to you in part by Sandstorm Gold Royalties. Sandstorm Gold Royalties is a different kind of gold company. They purchase royalties on select mining operations and receive a percentage of the revenue in return. Sandstorm now has a portfolio of over 185 gold royalties around the world. See how gold royalties differ from other gold mining investments at sandstormgold.com. That's sandstormgold.com. Sandstorm Gold Royalties trades on the TSX as SSL and on the New York Stock Exchange American as SAND.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. It's 114.19. Pretty soon it'll be 119.19, whatever that means. Anyways, point is, almost half of the first month of 2019 is gone. Time flies when you're doing something right, I guess. Anyways, well, it's been a while since had our next guest on, but first and foremost, please, if you want to be a part of the show, which I hope you do, then just email us, KL@KerryLutz. Really good letter, email. I will read it on the air, and if it's really good, I'll have you on the air, and we'll talk about it together. Well, you know, there's the right side, there's the left side, then there's the real side, therealside.com with our good friend Joe Messina from the People's Republic of California.
No kidding. And getting worse. I can't wait till they build the wall. But yeah. I want to make some adjustments, and you know what those are, right?
What are your adjustments?
The adjustments need to come up on the east side of California, and kind of, since they're so in love with the South, we can just come up the east side of California, and you can give California. I think we should give California back to Mexico. It's kind of where I'm at,
Okay. All right. Well, it might work.
Debt and all, though. They have to take the debt too.
They got to take the debt. Well, they'll just default. They have to take the public employees. I think that's worse than the debt.
Wow. Yeah, I know you've been tracking it for a while. I've been tracking it for a while. Mm-hmm. We're up to $127 billion, in debt, pension debt.
Trillion. California's
$127 billion. And this is future liability. This isn't even on the books. They do a little funny thing with accounting. Now, I know you've got a numbers background, but apparently the general budget doesn't include monies owed for the future. Okay, that's number one. Number two is there was a $10 or a $12 billion lawsuit against Arnold Schwarzenegger and the state of California, and the plaintiffs won. All right, that is still sitting on the books outside the general fund. So if you really sat down and went over all the numbers, I think you'd find out how bad a shape we actually really were in.
Yeah, well, they bring in so much money, the state, that if they just stop spending so much of it, probably in 5 years, they could pretty much make a nice dent on that, or at least stop it from getting any larger, and then inflation would take care of the rest. But no, not these people. But I thought all the...
Well, they love to tout that they're the fifth largest economy on the planet. Yeah. And, LA County has got a larger economy than most third world countries, which I think is hilarious.
Well, L.A. County is a third world country now, too. So, you know what? My point is that it just is unsustainable. Can't go on much longer this way. And there's going to be a comeuppance. There's going to be a day of reckoning. And none of those lefties there are prepared for it. So they'll just throw it in the lap of the Republicans and walk away and say it's their fault. And that'll be that.
Yeah, you know what? We are, depending on what happens within the next year or two, the next year really, my wife and I decide where we end up, because it's really getting to the point, Gaven Newsom, new governor, dictator of California. I don't know if you heard about this too. His wife is no longer called a first lady. She's now called a first partner. So it can be more gender inclusive, because California always wants to be inclusive, except when it comes to Christians or old white men, white conservative men anyhow. So, the taxes he's looking to implement in one sweeping act the other day, he wants to make Medicare medical insurance available to all, including illegals.
That's great.
I want you to think about that.
I think it's wonderful. That's what made America great, was entitlements, right?
Yeah. Well, oh yes, that's why people come. It's fun. Think about what's changed. When my grandfather came here and his family, what did they come here for? A better life, a chance to succeed, and taking money from the government was considered taboo and shameful, right? Yeah. Now you flip that around, and what is it today? This is no longer the party of JFK. This is the gimme, gimme, gimme party. Now in California, or in the country as a whole, when the immigrants come here, a lot of them, they're looking for government entitlements, government handouts, getting insurance from the government, getting food. I mean, this is crazy. I saw that clip on Facebook of the woman that's been here. She's a legal alien. She's been here 21 years, still here illegally. She's been collecting from the government for 19 of those 21 years.
Amazing.
But I'm sorry, that doesn't happen. Just ask it them. They'll tell you.
No, of course not, because it only goes to people, worthy people who are really in need, and there's no fraud. There's no food stamp fraud. All of these.
Oh yeah, that's
all of these things. They just go to people who need them, Joe. I mean, I can't believe you don't understand that.
Oh God! And then on top, see, we can do this all day long, right? On top of all of this, Gaven Newsom's talking about a water tax. Water tax.
Yeah, I saw that. Well,
right?
I would stop drinking water.
Well, for less privileged places. So the water tax would be more on places where people have money, like Beverly Hills, but not just Beverly Hills, but places where you've got the middle class, right? Mm-hmm. Now in Detroit, the argument was that water should not only not be taxed, but it should actually be free.
Yeah, it's a human right.
Because it's a human right, except in California where it's not a human right. I don't know. I'm so confused. Can you help me?
Oh my God, it's too much.
Oh, this is too much. You can't pay for this kind of entertainment. I don't think you could buy this anywhere, do you?
I don't think so. I don't think you can sell it either. I think the day's coming when nobody is going to want to step foot in the state, right?
Yeah, they really believe, they truly, honestly believe, the government does here anyway. And I remember working with Governor Jerry Brown's people. I don't know if your listeners know it, but I'm actually an elected official to a school board, which was really funny because I won my last election and was told that I was too outspoken by my own party, which I don't even understand, but whatever. But when you spoke with Jerry's people at the time, you come to find out that their attitude is truly, honestly, screw you. We've got other people that will step up. And if you're losing businesses in your area, it's because you're not controlling them properly. And there are other companies that will come in and take their place. So have a nice day.
Yeah.
We had a Chinese company that was willing to come in. They were going to build a plant with 110,000 square feet, for warehousing and manufacturing machines. I mean, manufacturing machines. But apparently, I don't know the ins and outs. You might know more about this than I do. But when they bring money in from another country, when they do stuff like that, there's a tax on it. So they just wanted to get in front of somebody in Jerry Brown's office to talk to them about maybe giving them some kind of tax break because they were bringing 600 jobs to the area.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This went back and forth. And finally, the guy that was working on this with me, he said, look, bottom line is we're not going to give him any breaks because if he doesn't come into the building, if they don't build over there, there'll be another company that'll show up.
That's what they think.
What do you think of that?
I think whatever you do, just tell those people who are moving out of California to stay out of Florida, please. Can you do that for me? Tell them it's a really bad place. We hate Californians here. I was thinking, like in Florida, we got so many people coming in. When I moved here, there was less, and this was about 7 years ago, almost 6.5 years. There was less than 20 million people. Now there are 22 million people, and my goodness, like, what are we supposed to do here? I want to build a wall on the border with Georgia, but I don't think they're going to do it. What do you think? Can we try that?
Look, I'm to the point now. You and I talked before we actually went live here, and I'm to the point now where I'm really thinking that the only way, we are so divided. Maybe we haven't, and give me your 2 cents. Maybe we haven't been this divided since before the Civil War. Mm-hmm. You think?
Ah, God. Well, the 60s, we were pretty divided then during the 60s.
But were we as hateful and nasty and violent? I know the young people were trying to make a change, and God bless them for, for some of what they did. But was it to the level it was now? What other president other than Abraham Lincoln took this kind of heat?
Well, we had race riots all over the place.
Right.
Back
in the late 60s.
In the late 60s. I mean, hundreds of them around the country. There was a book, and I was surprised at how many different cities had riots of one kind or another. Look, LBJ, he didn't run for president for the second time because he knew he couldn't get elected. So,
Now, you know what? And again, you would have thought at the time, because the Democrats had such a hold on people, you would have thought at the time that that they would have got elected. They could have won big with him. Mm. I mean, I don't know, again, but you would have thought so.
I don't think so. I think he was finished. Vietnam was his Waterloo, and he was done. But yeah, it's a different kind of vitriol. The country still was cohesive as far as a common vision. I think that ostensibly the younger people demonstrating and the blacks demonstrating and other minorities were like demonstrating because the country wasn't adhering to the vision for their particular group. And then you had Vietnam, which, was not exactly a good idea in retrospect. And even a lot of people didn't think it was smart. Like, what did we need to go there for? And all of these useless wars have kind of broken down the cohesiveness of the country. So, hey, maybe we'll have 5 countries that come out of it. You guys can have your own country, California. You can combine with Washington State, Oregon, and California, and maybe Nevada now, the way that's heading. And Florida will join with, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Kentucky, and Alabama, and Georgia, probably the Carolinas too. We'll have our own little country. New York will combine with Rhode Island and Connecticut, New Jersey, Vermont, all these crazy places. I guess Maine too can have them. And the way things are going in New Hampshire, they'll probably take them too. And we'll have like 4 or 5 countries here that'll kind of be split up.
Let me ask you, one of the things I talk about a lot on my show is the education level. Okay.
Or lack thereof.
Pretty much the lack of. And, again, I look at where young people are, and even people our age, a little younger, that really don't know how government works. They don't understand how these things happen. Mm-hmm. And, part of the angst of people, wanting laws passed or just wanting Congress to do certain things, you're going, well, wait a minute, that's unconstitutional. Yeah. There are ways that you make stuff happen, and it's not just where you walk in. One of my arguments about the Supreme Court that I think we've gotten away from big time. The Supreme Court, and you're an attorney, you'll understand what I'm saying. They render opinions. They don't make law.
Yeah.
So when the Supreme Court, something's brought in front of them and they go, that's unconstitutional or that doesn't line up, what have you, that doesn't mean it's dead. That means that Congress is supposed to take that back, unless I'm really wrong here. But Congress is supposed to take that back, rewrite it, redo it, rework it, if you would. It doesn't mean the law in and of itself as a whole is against the law, correct?
Well, it depends on the way the law is written. They have these severability clauses. I mean, look what that judge down in Texas did to Obamacare. Finally, somebody had the stones to stand up and say this thing is unconstitutional. So, it all depends who you talk to. If you talk to Representative AOC there, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the government can do anything it wants to, and you have no say in the matter. You know,
I love that stuff. God, some of my friends are going, why do you give her the time? I said, you can't pay for this comedic relief anywhere. You can't buy this kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Hey, look. Go
ahead.
Hey, she's like one of my viewers on YouTube called her occasional cortex because it doesn't function.
I may
very
steal
well.
that.
Hey, you go ahead because I'm stealing it too. I think it's a great line because that cortex is definitely not really functional in her case. And
right.
Look, I mentioned in a thing that she's just plain stupid, and she's stupid because she doesn't understand the system the way it works, but she's there, and she doesn't really think very deeply on any particular topic, and she's got a good social media person. I don't even think she's doing the social media thing on her own, and I really don't. I don't think she's that bright, and and some of her social media is clever, like with Joe Lieberman, and she go, "Who dis?" And but she's just really maybe a social media idiot savant because she doesn't know anything else about anything in life, and she's having a very hard time being able to afford a second apartment in Washington, D.C. I'm reading here. So maybe we should start a GoFundMe campaign to help her.
You think she's thought this through? Well, that in and of itself is an oxymoron. But, you think she's thought this through to think, okay, I'm going to tax everybody at 70%. And I know she's got a $10 million limit there, right? I mean, $10 million is where it starts. And I'm sure Pelosi will be on board with that. And Obama and Clinton's, right? They're going to jump all over that. Anyway, does she realize who she's targeting with that 70% tax rate on people who make over $10 million a year?
Yeah, but most of the people making $10 million a year, the super wealthy, will never pay it. They'll never pay that tax because there'll be loopholes, exemptions, all of that. I mean, she's a joke. The woman is a total joke, not to be taken seriously, but she's frightening because there is a segment of the population that does take her seriously. Trump was asked what he thought about her criticism and basically said, hey, don't bother, means nothing.
Yeah.
Like, don't even talk to me about her.
They're going to eat themselves up. I mean, you watch what they're doing and what they're saying, online, on the air, wherever. And now they're starting to fight each other. Don't you find that interesting?
Yeah. So it's an orgy of power crazed sociopaths. And, luckily for their own sake, that they're not the kind of sociopaths that go shoot people or serial killers. They're just serial thieves. They're just out to steal every last penny that they possibly can and screw the rest of us,
Yeah. I am what's been going on in the conservative world. It was one of the things I put out last night and last week was we're watching some of the conservative guys now unable to hold on anymore. They're dropping because they're not being able to make money off of, Facebook, YouTube, any of those things. So it's getting tougher and tougher and tougher. I had a second page. I don't think you even know this, but I actually had a second Facebook page pulled down. And the only thing we were doing there really was pumping the show through there. Mm-hmm. And we started growing again, started growing in listenership and in activity. That was nailed again. So it's kind of like you're sitting back saying, all right, how do you do this? How do you get this point across without using, if it's possible, without using, Facebook and Twitter and that kind of stuff? And I guess it's just drawing them, pushing them, helping them get to your show in different ways. We're now using Vimeo, which is a great tool for us.
They could knock you off too.
What's that?
They could knock you off too. They've done it.
Well,
to others.
It's really funny with them. I read the agreement. Yes, I actually read the agreement, counselor. Wow. I read the agreement, and I talked to people. I said, look, I do political shows. I don't call for the killing of anybody. I don't do anything like that. I don't play those kind of games. But
but I'd like to.
But I said,
but I'd like
check?
to.
Well, yeah, there's a few people I would like to knock off. No, but we go back and forth, and finally they said, look, here's the deal, and I have it in writing from them. As long as you don't call for the killing of anybody, we'll let you put anything you want up there.
Oh, so maiming them is okay. Calling for the maiming of individuals is okay.
Yeah, there you go.
As long as you don't want them killed.
Well, there's a couple of them. If you go to MeWe, and I've had that guy on my show a couple of times, Mark Weinstein, the different one, and but he has said a couple of times, he said, look, read our agreement. We'll pretty much let anything stay up there with the exception of calling for, violence against a certain person or group or killing a certain person or group. Other than that, you can put anything you want up there. And I found that so far to be true. Not that we'll drive people there, but the bottom line is, there's got to be ways to get the message out.
Sure.
Otherwise, I think I think that Facebook and Twitter had a major league effect on the last election because we weren't able to get our message out. And now I'm going to do a story tonight about email. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but the email is somewhat being censored because every email you send out to think about something. How many people don't have Gmail accounts?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, yeah. It's like
40%
of the email recipients.
Right. Yeah. Hello. Anybody home? Who runs email?
Yeah. The evil corporation runs it, right? The one that says they won't do evil. Is that the one?
Yeah. The one where we went from almost 2 million views a month down to 71,000 views almost overnight. Now, look, I may suck, but I don't suck that bad. And not to lose all of that overnight. So, give me a break.
I know. They've been doing it to me for years. Yeah. On a good show, I'll get 2,000-3,000 views now, with luck. I used to get hundreds of thousands.
I know.
I'd make them go viral. And I didn't even know what I was doing then. And now I know what I'm doing and still can't do it. I mean, I kept all my old screenshots just to make me feel good. You know what I mean? Yes, I know.
Looking at who you reached and who was listening and the amount of comments you would get. I have people. Yeah. We just switched over to text messaging because I'm sure they'll find a way to shadow ban that too. But for now, we went to text messaging too to a big degree, and I'm watching traffic start to pick up again.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
For a while.
I know what you're saying, man. It's a very real problem. Here's a guy, I used to get 20,000 views with him. Now I get 1,600, And I used to get like 100,000 or more YouTube views a month without even pushing it. And, now forget it. So,
well, you were the podcast king. I mean, I'm sure you still are, but I mean, it's got a lot harder to get that message out.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's someday you should do a technical show. Without putting anybody to sleep, but you should do a technical show how information moves across the that big vast interweb, and what point of entry servers mean, and how they actually, because some people look and go, oh, come on, it's the internet, you can't keep people from getting their message out, and you know what, actually you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can definitely. It's been done to me, and hey, this is what happens. But in any event, there's still a lot out there. You can't let them get you down, and that's the key. So, they're going to play their games, and there's nothing that you can do about it. So just forget it, and just do the best you can, and look for alliances. Alliances are the key. Working.
Well, listen. I'm thinking about re-registering in the Democrat Party, okay? But I'm gonna put myself down though as a biological white man identifying as a older black woman who may be a transgender. And I figure if I do that, I should come up number one on the search things all the time, and they wouldn't dare shut me down, right? No, I mean, this is how ridiculous it's got. It's like people are thinking, I've got friends of mine high up in the Republican Party in California, and they're looking to find African-American women that are, conservative women that are willing to run for office and or younger gay men that are willing to run for office. I'm saying, are we going to do what they're doing? How about we look for the best person to run for office? Yeah. Wouldn't that be a novel idea?
Yeah, indulging in identity politics and policies is not the key to success here. The key to success is winning in the arena of ideas, which will eventually happen, but it just might be too late for any of us. That's the problem here, Joe.
What do you say? We're too old?
It just might be too late for anything to happen. I don't know.
Gary, you think we've made this happen to a big degree? I was talking to some friends over the weekend and going, look, you younger guys, and even before us a little bit, you didn't take the time, or you didn't take the tact, whatever you want to call it, to actually sit with your kids and nieces and nephews and go, look, this is wrong teaching. No matter what side of the aisle you're on, history is history. We should allow them to change history. Family values are family values. You shouldn't be teaching sex education at school. That should be a home thing. We might go down a whole list of stuff, but we didn't want anybody to feel bad, so we didn't open our mouths. Did we do a poor job?
I think there's a lot of things here. The Supreme Court, the country just changed, Joe. The country just changed. I think
it took a left and I kept going straight. Is that what you're saying?
I think inflation really changed the country, because then you no longer had the ability for a mother to stay home and raise the children. Then it really took a village. And I don't know about your village, but I wouldn't trust my village to raise my kids. And then the mother that stays home is the exception. And and look, I have friends who are homeschooling their kids.
Right, I do too.
Oh, they get so much better in education. It's pathetic, especially if you happen to be Asian. If you're Asian, then you're going to go all the way if you're home.
I'm not familiar with the Asian culture, but I got to tell you something. They have a love and a respect for education like I've never seen. Really big deal with them. True.
Yeah, same as Jewish religion,
Bingo. Yeah.
Put
Jews.
Education first,
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's power. It's a way out. It's a way to get out of the inner city, if you would.
Very, very true. It is the way out. For many of you there is no other way out. Hey, I wanted to talk to you about Ruth Bernie Ginsburg.
Oh.
A weekend at Judge Bernie Ginsburg's house, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've got her duct taped to a broom handle now to hold her up or something. I don't know. I mean, listen, let's just be clear for anybody listening. I don't wish death on the woman. No, I really don't. Not. I don't.
Because they throw you off all your channels if you did that.
It's time to go.
They throw you off all your channels if you wish death on her. But no, that's not what decent people do.
No.
Hey, we don't want her in there for a variety of reasons, but we don't want to see death on anyone just to further our own political ends or goals or beliefs. It's not what we're about, and that's what separates us. Because how many people do you think wake up every morning wishing Trump a speedy departure from the planet, right?
You know what? Millions. I'm telling you that Donald Trump has done so much for the bare aspirin market, because every morning a bunch of libs get up and they see that he's still alive and they go right for the aspirin bottle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, and stronger. I think, a lot of the fentanyl deaths are related to Trump derangement syndrome. Let's face it here, because they'll take anything to make the pain go away.
I'm still not understanding why it's so hard for these people to let go of this. Why it is so hard for them to back away. Look at it. If he's as bad as they say he is, he's going to bury himself anyhow.
He'll never get reelected. It's like, what are you worrying about? Self-correction.
Yeah, bingo. Everybody's going to see it. Right? They would never reelect a man like that.
No, of course not. Right? But they just they can't get over it. They really cannot get past it. And there's no way they just cannot do it.
I mean, look at it. I joke about this on a regular basis. When Obama got elected the first time, I've got proof. You go back and get the show. They said, okay, look, I don't know the guy. Don't much care for his record from what I've seen. I don't think he's going to be an effective president. But shut up for a while. Let's see what he does or doesn't do. Yeah. They didn't even allow that to happen. Number two is when he got reelected, I wasn't devastated, but man, I was mad. I was going, wait a minute, how does this happen? And we went, and you and I, we watched this stuff on a daily basis. I was so mad, though. My joke is, I was so mad the next day. You know what I did? I went to work.
Yeah, you showed.
Right? That's how mad I was.
You showed them, and same here, man. It's like it's stupid because this isn't our lives. But with these people, I mean, a really close friend of mine was never into politics. You know, he definitely leaned left. He had his thoughts, but he's been out there demonstrating, and, you know, you can't have a conversation with him about, without him getting into, the latest was the shutdown, the ridiculous shutdown from Trump, for no reason at all. And I said to him, I thought we agreed we weren't going to talk about politics, but the shutdown. I said, look, if you want to have a fight, just say you want to have a fight about it, and we can have a fight. But otherwise, let's just move on here. Yeah. So he decided we should just move on.
I started a local podcast because I got tired of the local nasties and nobody sticks up to them. Mm-hmm. So I started, and you've known me for years. You know my personality, and so and it's a jugular podcast. I'm going for the jugular. When these guys say certain things or do certain things, I'm going to call out what they've done in the past.
Oh, I love it.
And I've already made them nervous, but I had my first interview was with one of the pot stirrers in town from the left. Mm-hmm. And he came into my studio and we talked on Saturday, and we agreed not to do the federal stuff, only local. And he kept trying to go to the federal. And I said, really? Is this what we can expect from your people? You make an agreement, you go back on it?
Yeah.
And he just looked at me, and I said, no, we're going to either play by the rules you agreed to, or you can leave. It's really that simple for me.
I love it. Hey, by the way, I'm so shocked that California is having fiscal problems because here you legalize pot. I thought that was going to cure everything that everything that was wrong with California. The whole fiscal situation was fixed. What did I miss here, Joe?
They were talking about the $1 billion that was going to come in taxes.
Yeah,
right.
Like, what happened?
And I have guys that come in here, and you may or may not agree with this. I don't know, but dope is not the dope of the '60s. It's so much different now,
and
it's definitely a drug, a jump off drug, if you would. What they've done is this, because you're ready for this one, because the taxes are so high on dope.
I know they're
still buying it underground.
I heard this.
Right?
Yes, I did hear this.
Oh, it's true. Look I'm on a school board, so I get some inside information from the sheriffs and what's happening and what's going down, and it's exactly what's happening. Is they're getting it cheaper out in the street. There's no tax on it.
Yeah, you see, like in Oregon and Washington State, they don't have all those crazy taxes because you got like a 25% excise tax in California, and then you got your like 12% or whatever your sales tax is. So you wind up with these outrageous taxes, and they just said, screw you. And, it's made the illegal market, brought the prices down there to less than the legal prices. Right. And it's just economics at work.
And think about something here. So when you grow dope in under the legal way, there's certain guidelines you have to follow and what have you, right? Then you got to pay the taxes. You're going to transport it a certain way. All right. Now, if you're growing it or selling it illegally, and simply selling it illegally doesn't mean it's illegal to sell pot. It means it's illegal to sell it without a license, right?
Untaxed marijuana. It's like untaxed cigarettes in New York.
So bingo. So what's your fine? There's no jail time. It's a misdemeanor.
Right. Yeah, it's they're trying to protect a monopoly because they're paving the way for Philip Morris and for the drug companies and all of and the tobacco, drug, and alcohol companies to be the major players in the market. That's what they want. They don't want to be taking taxes from 100,000 individuals, little people growing this stuff. They want 3-4 checks from the major companies.
Oh yeah,
and everybody else is banned. So they're going to artificially increase the barriers to entry. And look, even California can screw that up. It's a gold mine by any stretch. I mean, the people are lined up in the stores, et cetera. I mean, look, we could debate whether it's good or not. Probably long-term use, especially by children, really bad. Chronic use, bad. Yeah. But probably not as bad as alcohol in the scheme of things.
I have no problem with adults. I mean, and I don't mean 18-year-old adults. I'm sorry. Some people can get mad at me for saying that. But, you're an adult. You got a job. You're 20-some-odd years old, mid-20s or what have you. Your brain's done a lot of its development. It's very, very kind of hard.
Right.
But they've proven, they've shown you, and this is not, what was that crazy Reefer Madness. Remember that movie?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the government didn't do us any favors because now everybody does. Nobody believes any of this stuff. But I've had the experts here online. I don't know you. I'm willing to openly admit the 70s I smoked dope like crazy because I don't know. It was like drinking, I guess. We thought it was safer than drinking. But today it's different. It's got so many chemicals, so many additives to it and it's so potent that it's actually changing the structure, the makeup structure of the brain in teenagers. Right. And if there's too much use, it's actually impairing their ability to make any kind of rational decisions. That's why sometimes you have kids that are 21, 22, 23, and you're going, oh my God, how did this kid get out of bed all his life?
Oh,
he was probably and again, not the funny, jokey, dope user that you see on TV, but I mean, truly smoking the dope that made physical changes to his brain.
Yes.
And that's not a joke, and it's not to get people, I don't hate marijuana. I get people use it for whatever reason. But man, I got to tell you, we're allowing so much as a society. It's almost like nothing's bad anymore, right? Nothing's wrong or bad anymore.
It's very hard to legislate morality, no matter what. You just can't do that. And
You're right.
The cat's out of the bag, the toothpaste out of the tube. You just can't stop it. But all you hear liberals talk about is education. People need education, so educate them about that. What I'd like to see people educated about is if you're a mother, a woman, and you're going to have a child and be a single parent, all the risks that you are subjecting that child to and the failure that you're almost assuring in his life. Why don't we have education commercials like that? And if you're a stupid kid just graduating from high school, maybe it's not a good idea to take on 6 figures worth of school debt. Why don't we have commercials like that? That would be a real public service. They want to tell me not to smoke.
Wait a minute. You would feed into those yo-hos that say that's why education should be free. We shouldn't saddle them with all that debt.
Oh,
you've got those people.
Yeah.
That's your show. I'm trying to be nice. You've got those people out there.
This is a family show.
There you go. See, you've got those people out there that would spin that in a heartbeat like that.
God, yeah. It's true, but still, you need to be...
I agree.
Educate people.
Well, that's the whiteboard thing I keep telling you about. I think, thank God, by the way, I know that we have Nancy, but I'm so glad that Paul Ryan's gone. Story for another day. But
oh, my God.
We should have had a whiteboard on the floor, and every time the Dems tried to sell something, somebody should have walked up to the whiteboard and laid out the math in plain, simple, visual English. I believe that so much.
Yeah, well, liberals generally don't know anything about math. Anyway, Joe, we got to take off now, but just tell us about your show, where we find it, how we connect with you.
Just head over to therealside.com. It's therealside.com, and there's a list of stations and times, and we go live Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 West, 9 to midnight on the East. So if you need a way to fall asleep, you want to listen to something to fall asleep, you can always listen to the show at night and get us online, and again, through a phone app and all kinds of stuff. Hey, thanks for having me on. Always have fun when I'm on with you.
It's always a pleasure. Hey, and like I said before, if you want to connect with us on the show, I mean, we got so many people, so many emails behind. I've got an email, though, that I want to read you, because when you have a doubt on whether you're making a difference or not, Joe, I just got this from Tom. And Tom is he is such a great guy. We've been communicating for a couple of years now, I think, on through email. So it says, Kay, through your encouragement, I tried a while ago to reunite with my daughter. We had been estranged for years. We initially got briefly in touch, but things fell apart, mostly due to my stubborn pride. I persevered by random text messages and loving words. I am happy to say that my daughter and I are now closer than ever. Thank you for your words of wisdom and encouragement. You truly do make a difference. I consider you one of my best friends, even though I don't even know you. No, you know me better than you think, Tom, and you are a good man. And P.S., your show is okay, too. So next time, and look, I'm telling you, Joe, that you've got a zillion people just like Tom out there listening to you. You do make a difference, so you can't give up the fight. Even if it's just one person you wind up talking to out there,
Yeah.
It's still going to make a difference, and it's going to make a difference to you. Making a difference to someone else makes the biggest difference in your life of any act you can do. So don't be frustrated. We persevere on because we know that regardless of what happens, we did the right thing, and there's nothing else that you can do here. Anyway, hey, if you're listening on YouTube, if you are listening to a podcast, please subscribe, like, and share so that we can get the word out about the show, overcome the censorship, get people involved. It really helps me when you do this. I really appreciate it. Joe, we'll talk to you again real soon. Hopefully I'll take a trip out to crazy California soon, and we'll do it live.
I'll protect you in the cave. You can come here to the studio, which is a cave, and nobody will find you. I guarantee it.
All right, man. Hey, and questions, comments, email kl@kerrylutz.com. Joe Messina, therealside.com. Always appreciate you coming on, Joe.
Thanks for having me.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.